Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. Nice to see you again, those of you who I remember who saw me last time. Qarar. Yeah, there he is. Ali. Here he is. Some of you as well who were here last time, but some quite new faces as well. Some people who were not there last time. So maybe we can just remember, if anyone can. I'm going to ask young Ali in front. Do you remember, were you actually listening? Do you remember what we said last time? What was the one word?
What?
Sorry, go on. Wisdom. Wisdom, yes, well done. Excellent. So we talked about wisdom, didn't we? And we talked about what it means to be wise, and we talked about that if you are wise, you can become strong. So today, I spent a little bit of time. I didn't have as much time as last time, so it might be a bit shorter, but I've got some stories, don't worry, like last time, which stories are good. And today we're going to talk about Surah Al-Asr. And we're going to talk about it in the way of thinking about a clock and a compass. So can anyone tell me, what do you use a compass for? Yes. To know the way, yes. So what we have is a clock to tell us how much time we have, and a compass to tell us which way. So we're going to look at Surah Asr in two ways. One of the ways is like this, clock and the compass, and I'm going to show you a video about how you can look at Surah Al-Asr in a different way. Last time we started off the learning objective. Today's learning objective is going to be to understand how Surah Al-Asr can help us in our life day to day. Okay, so that's our learning objective. Remember that for today. I did want to bring some papers and pens because I wanted to do some drawing, but I forgot to bring them. So maybe we can draw in our mind, and maybe I'll ask some of you to draw on the screen or on my laptop when we come to it. Okay, so I'll ask you to do that. What was our rules last time we talked about? Oh, there are quite a few people who were there last time. Go on.
We had like a rap.
Go on, and what were those rules? Forgot. At least remember good rap rules, yeah? Rap rules, go on.
Respect.
Consent. A?
Appreciate and perfect.
Good, excellent. So those are our rules, because what does it mean? Respect each other means that we make sure that we're respecting ourselves by listening and respecting other people, and we're appreciating ourselves. What does appreciate mean? Sometimes you don't like somebody because somebody might do something wrong, you think, or something different that you don't like too much. It might not be wrong, but it might not be what you do. But sometimes we have to appreciate that person because that person might be doing it for a different reason. So for example, somebody might not have the same phone as you or the same computer as you. Therefore they have to go to use a different computer or a computer room in school. And that might annoy you because they're not playing with you at break time, but they have to go to the computer room and do their work. So you might say, oh, that person is a geek, he's going to the computer room to play. But that's not appreciating that he might have a reason to go and do his homework at break time, because at home he might not have a computer. So we have to appreciate each other as well, not just respect, appreciate that some people might be doing things differently. And the last one was perfect. That means we have to try and get better and better and better, because if we don't get better, we'll always stay at the same level and we'll never become leaders. Remember, we all want to become leaders. Good. So, can anyone start me off by reciting Surah Al-Asr? Does anyone know it by heart? Go on. Put a hand up first. Come on, stand up in front of everyone. Let's see if we got some pressure.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إلا الإنسان لفي خسر والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. So that's what that means. By time. Okay, this is some translation, might be different. By time. Indeed, man, us, are lost, except for those who have believed and done good deeds and advised each other to what's right, the truth, and told each other about being patient. So that's Surah Al-Asr. So if we start off with the first one, Al-Asr, right, what we can think about what that means, it says here by time. But actually you can think about it also by saying time is running out. We don't have enough time. So what happens when we don't have enough time? How many of you have done tests and exams? A lot of you, right? Most of you will have done. What happens when the teacher says you've got 5 minutes left? Yeah. What happens?
You're under pressure.
You're under pressure. What do you start doing? Panicking, but also rushing. Because why? Because you don't have enough time left. So you want to get through as much as you can in that short of time, space time. And what God's saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, we don't have enough time left. We don't have time. So what should we do? We must quickly rush to do the last questions in the exam. What are the questions in the exam of life? It's to do good deeds, to tell people about the truth, and to have patience. Let's talk about these things. So, the first thing we can do is if we're rushing, if you're rushing an exam, okay, let's give another example. Say you're playing football, 85 minutes. Now, how many minutes have you got left? 5, right, plus extra time. What happens if you're 1 goal down? You rush, you panic, you say, right, we're going to score the goal, we're going to push ourselves, we're going to get into a team, we're going to make our plan, and we're going to go for it for the last 5 minutes. In football it's a bit difficult because they don't have timeouts, but you know in other sports, like in American baseball and basketball, they have timeouts. You must have seen it in movies and things. If there's only like 1 minute left, and the coach will say, time out, and they'll all get back together, and what will they do? They'll plan. They'll say, right, you go here, you go here, you go here. 1 minute left. What are we going to do? You're going to pass to him, you're going to pass to him, and then you're going to shoot. And that's how, and in the movies they always win, don't they, at the end. So that's what we have to do as well. We have to plan our time. What's God saying? God is saying, time is running out. What do we have to do then is we have to plan. So, this is what I'm going to ask one of you guys to come and help me. Okay, I've got a plan on the screen. My day. Okay, my day. My day, 7 a.m. I wake up, I pray namaz, I brush my teeth, and get changed, go to shower, and then 8 o'clock, have breakfast, and then 8 o'clock go to school. And from 8 o'clock till 4 o'clock I'm in school. Probably same as you guys, right? And then 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So many hours, what do I do? What plan am I going to make? So who wants to help me? This young man's hand was up first, although you've already done something, so maybe somebody else. Go on. You. Come up here. Right, what I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to tell me what you do in these hours. Right, let's see. So, 4 o'clock, when you come home from school, what do you do? What's your name first of all? Hussein, mashallah. Right, Hussein. Okay? Right, 4 o'clock, what do you do?
I'm going back upstairs and get changed back into my normal clothes.
Okay. It's 1 hour here, 1 hour. So we've got to think about 1 hour. So what do we do in that 1 hour? Okay, so get changed.
Then get changed.
Yeah.
Wash my hands and go eat dinner.
Okay, eat dinner at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
at 5 o'clock? Yeah.
tea.
Tea. Okay, tea. At 5 o'clock?
Play computer games.
Play computer games.
What about Salah?
And then
Yeah, I'll still do that.
Salah. For 1 hour?
No, on 6 o'clock.
Salah for 1 hour from 6 to 7. With long Salah. Okay, what else do you do then?
After that,
It's hard, isn't it?
TV. Yeah, TV.
TV, okay. What about 7 till 8?
Homework. That's what I do. I'm coming here to the masjid.
Okay, but when there's no masjid? Like on another day, normal day. Someone said homework. You don't get any homework. So which school do you go to? I better go there.
I always do homework.
Sort it out. Okay, let's put some homework. Okay, 8 till 9? Wait, what time do you sleep?
I sleep at
9 o'clock. Okay, so I'll put sleep there. What about 8 till 9?
8. I go up to bed.
So change, brush,
Pray again.
get ready. Okay, thank you very much. Nice one, thank you. Okay, so guys, the point was, why did I ask you to do this? I want you to think about your own evening. From 4 o'clock when you come back from school, all the way till about 9, 10 o'clock, and then you go to sleep. You find it really hard to think about what you did every hour. What does that tell you? That means that you've got so much time. Does it take you from 6 to 7? You say you watch Salah and you watch TV. You pray Salah and you watch TV. So that's 1 hour. Okay, that's fine. I can understand that. From 8 to 9, change, brush, get ready. It takes you 1 hour. Play computer games for 1 hour. Get changed and eat dinner for 1 hour. It's a long time. So what does that tell you? Actually, you have a lot of time where you can do things, aren't you? What does that mean we need to do? If I say to you, let me change that around, and let me say, I'm going to put in here another, I want everyone to think about the same thing if they were to do it. I'm going to put in here another column, another row. And I'm going to say, that's the same here, so I'm going to get changed, eat dinner, pray Salah, and do some homework. Okay? Here, I'm going to play computer. Right? And then here, I'm going to watch TV for an hour. I've got 7 till 8, 8 till 9, 9 till 10. So much time. What do I do with all that time? Sleep. Is that really a waste of time? Homework. Okay, homework 1 hour, 2 hours. 3 hours. Okay, let's move on. The point. Do dua, pray. Okay, the point I was trying to make. Do you see, guys? Is that if I planned my day properly, I would actually have loads of time where I could allocate to do other things, to do the things I want to become better. So planning makes a big difference. So what does God tell us to do in Surah Al-Asr? He tells us that you're running out of time. What do you need to do? You need to plan. And when you plan, what do you need to include in that plan? You need to include these things. Okay? And the plan needs to have a direction. So we're going to look at what that direction is. Okay? We're going to use the compass to tell us what that direction is. Let's use the compass points. Does everyone know what these compass points are? Yeah? North, east, south, west. Okay, instead of north, east, south, west, we're going to use N for networking, E for Iman, S for Salah, and W for Walidain. We'll talk about that, what each of them mean, and how they can be our, thank you, boys, wrapping. We can use these points to give us our plan for the day. And every day we can use these to plan. Okay? So let's start off with Iman. So here, this one, E, Iman. So Iman means to have faith. Doesn't mean just to believe in something, but it means to believe in something and also to understand that something as well. So if you believe, if I tell you, and you believe me, that there's a dragon outside, right? Okay, you believe me, but what will you do to make sure you really believe? Yes, go outside and check. So you're going to have to ask questions and find out, aren't you? So if I say to you, there's a God, parents might say there's a God, we all believe there's a God, but we have to go and find that out as well by asking questions, by seeking, by reading. When we get older, we must do that, for sure. Coming to lectures and asking, that's good. So that's that Iman. So think about that, just when you're planning your day, let's think about where we're going to do that. Where are we going to think a little bit in the evening? The second one, Salah, S for Salah. You all know what that is. Let me tell you what the Prophet said. The Prophet said, it's like cleaning yourself. When you wake up in the morning, what do you do? Sometimes you take a shower. Imagine taking a shower five times a day. How clean would you be? Really clean, right? Polished, super polished. Yeah? So praying, Salah is like that. That you clean yourself 5 times a day. Okay? And then the next one. Walidain, what does that mean? It means parents. Parents is another important thing. We might talk about it a little bit more. let me give you a story about parents, okay? You like stories, don't you? So, I'm going to read this story because I haven't memorized all of it. So just be careful so you can listen, because I'm not looking at you anymore, I'm going to look at the paper, okay? So one day, father was doing some work, and then he came home from work, and his son, like you might do, said, Dad, may I ask you a question? So the dad said, yeah, sure, what is it? So his son asked, Dad, how much money do you make every hour? His son wanted to know how much money his dad was making. He said, Dad, how much money do you make every hour? And the dad said, it's not a question to ask. That's my private. You shouldn't ask you this. None of your business. Why do you want to ask this? Why do you want to know this? So the son said, I just want to know. Please tell me, how much do you make in 1 hour? So the dad says, in 1 hour I make £30. So the son said, oh, thank you. So then he looked up and he said, Dad, can I please borrow £20? So the dad got really angry. Can you imagine if you ask, sometimes you ask, Dad, can I have £20? Say, no, can't have £20. Dad said, and got really angry and said, I think that you're only asking me how much, so you can borrow some money so you can buy a silly toy or some rubbish. You want to buy something, don't you? Go upstairs, go to bed. Right? And think why you're being so selfish. There are other people in the world who don't have that £20. And I work really hard every day. I can't just give you money like that. So the dad got really angry. It's not good. Anyway, so the little boy went upstairs, he went to his room, he said, okay. So the dad sat down, he was going to watch TV, and then he just waited, before watching TV, he sat down, he was getting really, really angry. He says, how come he's asking me this question? And he thought, you know what, maybe he wants £20 to buy himself some books. Or maybe he wants £20 to buy himself some new pens and papers to do some work. So the dad felt sad. So he went back upstairs, and he knocked on the door, and he said, son, are you awake? And the son said, yes, Dad, I'm awake. So the dad went in, and he said, sorry, I was really sorry. I'm sorry I was so angry at you before. Here's the £20 you asked for. So the son goes, oh, thank you, Dad, thanks for the £20. So the dad said, at least he can go and buy what he wants. So then the son went under his pillow, and he pulled out some more money, and he pulled out 10 more pounds. He had £5 and £5, all crumpled up. And he pulled them out, and he put it together. And he put £20 and £10 together, and he made £30. So then he said, Dad, here's £30. Can I buy 1 hour of your time? because that's how much you earn at work. And the dad got really sad, because what he's saying is that I didn't spend enough time with my son, and my son wants to buy my time out of money. How sad is that? But the problem is that every day we have the same problem. Not just with our dads, but with our parents as well. Sometimes our parents have to go through, and there's parents sitting, you have to go through so much effort to say, boys or sons or daughters, come and sit with me. Tell me how your school day was. How did you find your lesson? But you say, I want to play my game. I want to go and watch TV. I don't want to talk about this. But all that dad and that mom or your parents or your family wants to do is just talk to you. Just ask you, how was it? Want to connect. So it's really important to include, we've talked about Iman, Salah and Wali, the parents, in your planning. It's really important to include parents in your planning. Okay? And then the final one is networking. What does networking mean? Networking means to make friends, to have the right friends. We can't choose which family we come into, but we can choose which friends we make. And if we make the wrong friends, then that will influence us. Agreed? Does anyone have any stories about how friends can influence them? Anyone seen this happen? Yeah.
Well, it happened to me.
Yeah.
Someone called Paris is opposite me. And, well, because he keeps on talking to me while the teacher is speaking and explaining the work. And then, when the teacher gives the worksheets out, I don't know what to do.
And then if I'm a teacher, I get really annoyed. Why weren't you listening? Right? And you all know that. So, yeah, absolutely. It's where friends have influenced you and affected you. Now, is that the best thing? Because you have power to choose who your friends are. But if you don't choose wisely, remember wisdom, then you will get influenced and you'll go down in the same way. Okay, so networking is really important. I want to give you one more story about parents because I missed it out. I think it's really important. Okay, this is a story which is not true, but it just makes a point. I don't know, some of you may have heard this. So one day, there was a mother. And she had only one eye. You heard this story? You heard this about one eye story? Okay. So, the son or the daughter, yeah? The child, yeah? Okay. The child was really, really upset. Not upset, but angry. Can you imagine if your parents had one eye? It's not very nice because it doesn't look very nice, does it? But sometimes you have to accept. But let's just imagine that you were this child. Now this child was really angry, and whenever they used to go shopping or there used to be parents' evening and the mum used to come to school, then the young kid would be like really scared, or not. She would be really embarrassed. She didn't want to go to school because she was worried that what people would say about her mother who only had one eye. Okay? So what happened is that she one day wished that her mother was not there, and she was really upset, and she got really angry, and then one day she just left the house. She went. Yeah? Because she hated her mother so much. She didn't want to stay around, she left. And then it was like 20 years later, 25 years. So this young child had become big, she had got married, she had got a job, and one day she remembered in a dream, she remembered her mother. And she still didn't like her, but she said, you know what, let me go and visit, let me go and see. So she went to the old house, and the house had become old and broken, you know, it was like one of those haunted houses. It wasn't very nice. Got spider webs and things. But she said, this was my old house, let me go and see how my mother is. I thought maybe I should try. So she went, she knocked on the door, and there was another person open, and they said, sorry, Ali, your mother died recently, a few years ago. And she said, yes, I didn't really want to see her. Can you imagine? She didn't really like her. But then the person who was living in the house came and said, but she left. She said one day there might be a person who comes looking for me, give her this letter. So she gave the letter to the young child who was now older. And the young child had opened the letter, and she started reading. And guess what the letter said? The letter said, oh my dear child, when you were young, you were born with an illness. And that illness meant that your eye became diseased and the doctors had to take it out. So I was really upset. So I gave you my eye, and I lived without only one eye so you could have two. And this is the power, this is the love that your parents have for you. They will be willing to give up their body parts, their kidneys, their eyes, their things to you so that you can have a good life. Now ask yourself the question, how dare I say something bad to my parents? Even sometimes they might be stressed, they might come home from work a bit angry. But how do I have the right to say something bad to them? Because they have this love, just like that. And what does God say in the Quran? And we believe in the Quran, don't we? What does God say in the Quran? Don't even say to your mom and dad. Because sometimes if you say that, that means you're not treating them very well by you. So, what is the point? We said time is running out. We need to plan. What is the direction we need to plan? We're going to plan on 4 compass points. We're going to plan to network, to make good friends. We're going to plan to ask questions and to think. We're going to plan to pray and communicate with God. And we're going to plan to be good to our parents. So let's go back to our plan. If I have all this time in the evening, when can I plan to be good to my parents? Maybe I'm going to say between 7 and 7:20 every day, I'm going to go and tell my parents what I did in school. I'm going to connect with them. Maybe between 5 and 6, I'm going to play computer, or 4 and 5, I'm going to get changed, eat dinner, and I'm going to talk to God for 10 minutes. I'm going to pray and talk to Him. I'm just going to say, God, you know what? There's a really funny incident happened in school today. Tell God. Because that's connecting, that's talking. And you say, God, you know that this person was really funny today. Or I played football and we scored this really good goal. Tell God. Why not? You listen. Right? And then, between 7 and 8, what was the other thing? I'm going to do some thinking. Thinking can even be in the form of homework. If you're thinking about maths, thinking about science, you're thinking about French, another language, you're thinking, aren't you? You're asking the question. So that's a bit of faith in your mind. So have we covered all of them? And networking, what you're going to do in school, you're going to think about which friends you're making. Do you see how now I'm starting to plan? I'm starting to decide how I'm going to make my day. Does that make sense? Yeah? Any questions? Good. Excellent. So I've got another slide. I'm just going to miss that out because I'm going to show you a video first, okay? This is a man who has planned his life. Hopefully it'll work. This is a man who has planned his life. And he's planned his life in such a way that he was able to be successful. He's planned his life by saying, my time is running out. Because my time is running out, I'm going to plan every single second. You guys, and me as well, and all of us in this room, don't need to plan every second. You should plan every hour at least, or every 2 hours. But this guy's planned everything. Let's watch how he's been successful. You might have seen this in school. They might show they show this a lot in school. Okay. Everyone, lots of people seen it. Listen, okay, listen to what it says.
What a slide, all by myself. Everyone obviously at the bottom of the slide is looking up and waiting for other people to come down, and here I come, they're freaking out. They're like, like this. And I'm so tempted to look at myself and go, what happened, There were times where I sort of looked at my life and thinking, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And you keep on concentrating on the things that you wish you had, or the things that you wish you didn't have. You sort of forget what you do have. And there's no point, I believe, in my life where I wish I had arms lengths, I wish I had arms lengths, I wish I had arms lengths, I wish I could work out. What I've seen in life are just a couple of key principles. The first thing that I've seen is to be thankful. It's hard to be thankful, man. I tell you, when I was 8 years old, I sort of summed up my life and thought, I'm never going to get married, I'm not going to have a job, I'm not going to have a life of purpose. What kind of a husband am I going to be? I can't even hold my wife's hand. It's a lie to think that you're not good enough. It's a lie to think that you're not worth anything. It's free, so I can't feel my hands. I love life. So many people come and say, how come you smile so much? And I'm like, well, it's a long story. But it's very simple at the same time. You see, it's very hard to smile sometimes in life. There are things that happen that you don't know and you don't understand, and you don't know if you're going to get through it. You go through your storms in life, and you don't know how long this storm's going to be. And today I want to share with you some principles that I've learned in my life that you can use in yours. It's the hardest thing. But I realize I may not have hands to hold my wife's hand. But when the time comes, I'll be able to hold her heart. But I need hands to hold her heart. It is scary to know how many girls have eating disorders. It is scary to know how many people are just angry at life because of their situation at home and angry at others. It's scary to know how many people actually feel like they're worth nothing. Every single girl right here, right now, I want you to know that you are. and your boys, you're the man. On this DVD, I share my experiences in life of how I've overcome challenges.
So, just want to show you that because it was interesting to see how he's planned. He has planned his life to say that I'm not going to worry about what people say, what people think, or why I don't have enough hands. But what I'm going to worry about is another 4 compass points, which is what I put on the next slide. And what he's worried about, although he's not a Muslim, but what he's worried about is these 4 compass points, which are in the next direction. So we've got the 4 compass points, which were how we plan. Now these 4 are the 4 with what we use to plan. So we have to use Nur for nafs. We have to plan for our soul. We have to plan for our emotions. We have to be smart. We have to plan for our mind. And we have to plan for our body. And all of these things can be planned for as well. So if I go back to that, then I have to include in that timetable somewhere where I can do some sport, some exercise. I have to include in that timetable somewhere where I can be emotional and I can connect that to with my parents. I should include that with the nafs and I can connect with that with my salah. Do you see how I can connect the 2 things? Okay? So it's all about planning with the compass points, with the direction. Okay, that's what I've discussed or what I've looked at, what I've researched today for you guys. But there's another way of looking at Surah Asr. There's another way. And that way is delivered by this video, next video I'm going to show you. Now this is by another scholar, another person, and he's been looking at the surahs, looks at the Quran a lot, and they've made it into an animation. So I want you to think about these things, about planning, while you're watching the video, and think about how you're going to plan your life, along with what the video says about what Surah Asr is telling you to do. Okay? That's fine. What I'll do is I'll try and get it up with the HDMI. Speakers, that's the one.
That I want to share with you is one that will help you understand the larger concept of Surah Al-Asr. Imagine with me that you are drowning, and you are unconscious. 2 things. You're drowning and you're unconscious. Do you have a lot of time? If you're drowning and you're unconscious, do you have a lot of time? No, you don't have a lot of time. Which means your time is running out. And you know in Arabic, what word is used for when time is running out? The word for that is al-asr. And asr literally means time that is running out. It's the last part of the day when the day is running out. It's time of asr prayer. Okay? Asr literally comes from asir, juice that is squeezed out. Time that's being squeezed out of your hands. You know, asr al-thawba even it's used. That you take a cloth that is drenched in water, and when you squish it like this, all the water comes out. Asala as a verb is used like that, right? To squeeze it out. So Allah talks about this time. You're drowning, you're unconscious, your time is running out. What's the first thing you need to do to be able to survive if you're in that position? If you hope to survive, what's the first thing you're going to need? What do you think? Wake up. That's the first thing you're going to need. If you're unconscious, then you're finished. The very first condition that has to be you have to wake up. And even if you were in the most wonderful dream, and in your dream you were enjoying the greatest success, you're driving a Ferrari down, they have these car commercials with the hills and the highways on the side, the water on the other side, right? You're in one of those cars, the top's been dropped off, and you're just cruising along the highway, enjoying life. That's your dream. But when you wake up, what do you realize? You're drowning. You're underwater. That's the first condition. You have to wake up. Once you do wake up, you say, oh man, this is a nasty reality, and I was enjoying such a good dream. I should go back to sleep. If you do that, what kind of person would you be? Insane. You'd be insane. Or someone at least who has no courage to accept reality. Because they found reality to be very difficult, they decided they're going to put themselves back to sleep even though they woke up. Does this person, if he drowned, can he blame anybody else? The one who woke up and went back to sleep? You think? Someone who never woke up, maybe, right? But the one who woke up said, this is not good. And they went back to sleep. They have no one to blame but who? Themselves. They have no one to blame but themselves. Now, let's imagine that they did wake up. What do you have to do next? Oh, it's pretty bad, I'm drowning. Even if you don't know how to swim, will you not use every muscle in your body to make certain kinds of motions to go towards the surface? Wouldn't you do that? And you will make certain kinds of motions that make you go further down, and certain kinds of motions that will make you go up. And once you discover which ones help you go up, you will only do those, right? You will do those. In other words, the first thing was you have to wake up. The second was you have to swim. You have to do something to try to get to the surface. When you got to the surface, you gasped for air, and you got pulled back down. You got pulled back down. And you know who you got pulled back down? You won't believe this. There's a chain around your foot, and your relative, your cousin, is sleeping, and he dragged you down. And now you're drowning because of your sleeping cousin. What do you have to do now? You gotta wake him up. And you're not even waking him up because you want to save him. Who are you waking him up for? Maybe you want to save him, maybe. Maybe you don't even like your cousin, I don't know. Right? But what's the point? The point is you're trying to wake him up because if you don't wake him up, who's also going to drown? You yourself. So you wake him up and he says, man, I was driving a Ferrari, you woke me up for no reason. I'm going back to sleep. Forget you. Can you just say, okay, well, I didn't like you anyway, suit yourself? Can't do that. If he goes to sleep again, what are you going to do? Well, man, wake up, let's go, we can't give up. You can't not accept reality. And you have to keep trying to wake him up until he finally says, okay, fine, what do we do? He says, you say to him, let's swim together. Both of you come up together. The third time, you both get pulled down by your grandmother, by your aunt, by your neighbor, by your son, by your daughter. Does the process continue? The process continue? There's a 4-part process to this people surviving. The first was they had to wake up themselves. Then they had to try to swim. Then they had to tell other people that they're tied to, this is the truth. Let's go. And even if they got tired and one of them said, man, I can't do this anymore. We've been doing this now over and over again. I don't know if I can do it anymore. And the other one says, no, we are all going to survive together. You have to do this. Come on, let's go. Keep going. You ever seen those kinds of movies where they're trying to escape from some army and one of them gets tired and says, I can't run anymore. What do the others do? Come on, let's go, we can do this, And they get him to run anyway, even though he thinks he can't run anymore. They work with each other because their survival depends on each other. They work together desperately. What does Allah say at the end of this surah? First he says, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي وَالْعَصْرِ, first of all, time's running out. Then he says, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ, I'll translate it, human beings are drowned in loss. You see the parallel? Human beings are drowned in loss. What's the exception? إِلَّا الَّذِينَ, those who believed. Believed what? Allah didn't say آمنوا بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره من الله تعالى والبعث بعد. Nothing. He didn't mention anything. Even though all of those things are included. According to the siyaq of the surah, the context of the surah, what is the first thing these people have to believe? That they're in loss. That they're drowning. And if they do come to believe that, and they correct their iman, what's necessarily going to happen? They're going to swim and move upwards. How does Allah describe this action? وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. They do good things. They do things that help reconcile the situation. By the way, salih is an adjective here, salihat, which literally means that which corrects something. Something was wrong and it corrects it. So they do actions that correct the situation, literally like the guy trying to swim. But because they were tied to other people, what else did they have to do? وَتَوَاصَوْا. They had to tell the other the truth. And it's not even أخبروا عن it. They told them about the truth. No. You have to wake him up and let's go, we have to go. No matter, and over again. Tawasi even has takrar in it. It has repetition. Over and over again they said, this is the truth. You know why? Because the people you're trying to save, even if you wake them up temporarily for 20 minutes, 30 minutes during the khutbah, guess what happens when the khutbah is done? They go back to sleep. They start drowning again. So what do you have to do? You have to go and wake them up again. Then they get sleepy again. Then you got to wake them up again. This is tawasi bil haqq. And you might get tired of doing it. You might become impatient. So Allah also adds wa tawasaw bis sabr. You got to keep doing it. Sabr means consistency, constancy, perseverance, patience. You got to remain on point. You got to keep doing this because your survival depends on it. In the end, if you do all of these things but you have no patience and you give up, you drown too. So even if you had iman and you had good deeds and you told people about the truth but you didn't have sabr, you still drown. So how many conditions do you have to fulfill to survive? All four. All four conditions are required. They're critical and they're necessary. Which is why there's a wad in between them. You see the logical progression from iman to amil salihat, to tawassul bil haqq, to tawassul bis sabr, beautifully articulated in this.
Good one, eh?
How did they do that?
Right, so they drew this. How did they do that? They drew it and then they made it quick. So he wasn't talking at the same time. He was talking at a separate time and someone was drawing it and they just put it together on the computer. But the point was, so you saw another way of looking at Surah Al-Asr. So Surah Al-Asr, he said, was time is running out. And time is running out, and what did he say man is? Man is at a loss. What did he say man was doing? Man was sleeping and drowning. What did man have to do to make sure he survived? He had to wake up. And what did he have to do after he woke up? Swim. What did Surah Al-Asr say you have to do? What is swimming in Surah Al-Asr? Doing good deeds. Because if you swim in the opposite direction, that's no good. It's bad deeds. You have to swim upwards. And when you do good deeds, what happens? What's happening to you? You get pulled down by other people. What do you have to do to those other people? You have to wake them up as well. And what do you have to tell them? The truth. Because the truth is what? You're drowning. And then they have to come up and they have to do good deeds. But sometimes you may get tired. And if you get tired, what do you have to be? Patient. And that's the end of the surah. And what did I say? I was saying about the surah also, you have to also around your time, you have to, what do we say we need to do? Boys, come on, come on. What did we have to do? Plan. Plan our time around those compass points. Agreed? Yep. So, have we met the learning objective, which was to understand how Surah Asr can impact our lives? Now, good. Thank you very much. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Imam Hussein. Just a little bit, okay? I'm going to read it because I think sometimes reading is nice. I'm just going to read it. I just want you to just think about how you would feel if you were in that situation. And think about Imam Hussein being somebody who is doing Surah Al-Asr. Imam Hussein has done what? He has realized he has to wake up. And he's woken up. And what is he doing? He's swimming. And as he's swimming, what are people around him doing? Pulling him back down again. But what does he do? He says, no, you have to continue doing it. And how does he do it? He does it with patience. But what happened? He was with patience all the way, and he got out of the swimming pool, or the water. But the rest of them did not, and they drowned, didn't they? But he was patient about it. Good question.
But you can't talk while you're drowning.
No, you can't, but that's just imagining you're drowning. Yeah? It's just an imagination. It's not, we're not really drowning, are we? But we might be thinking we're drowning. We're not going towards God. God is up. You have to swim up towards Him, right? Make sense? Yeah? Okay. So, I just want to talk to you about what happened afterwards. So we all know that Imam Hussein and his family, boys, come on, boys, wrap, not rapping at the moment, okay? Imam Hussein and his family were all killed. They had patience. They all went to God. But there were some family members who were not killed. And they were taken, where were they taken? After Karbala. They were taken to Kufa, and then they were taken to Damascus. And when they were in Damascus, they were brought in front of Yazid. And what did Yazid do? He brought in front of them their father's head. You think about that. You close your eyes and you think about you being in a place where you are standing and you don't know. Say you've been taken to Scotland or Manchester or France. You're not unfamiliar place. And what does the person who's brought you there bring you? Brings you the head of your father, of your dad. This is a place where the people who were doing this were dreaming. They were sleeping. They thought they were in this lovely Ferrari, but actually they were at the bottom of the ocean. They were drowning. But the fantastic thing here is, this is the state of these people, that there was a Christian, and the Christian came because Yazid had invited all the people from other countries to come and watch this, and the Christian came, and the Christian said, who have you brought here? And Yazid very, very proudly and arrogantly said, I brought the head of Imam Hussein. And the Christian said, is that not the grandson of your prophet? Yazid said, yes, it is. And the Christian said, you know what? I am the son of 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 one of the disciples of Jesus, one of the followers. And people in my faith come and touch my feet and touch my cloak, and they rub their face because they think that my father's 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 once was a friend and a companion of Jesus. This head that you're touching is the grandson of your prophet. How dare you touch that head? This was the type of people who were drowning, who were asleep. They believed in the prophet. They were not in a different religion. They believed in the prophet. But yet, Yazid had the audacity, the arrogance to hit the teeth of Imam Hussein with a stick. This is the type of people they are. And the reason I'm saying this is because I want us to think whether we will ever become these type of people. Because it's very easy. Because what was happening, they were just dreaming. And what do we need to do to make sure we do not become these type of people? We need to wake up. And if there's one thing that we need to remember to take away from today, is we need to wake up and remember that when Imam Hussein died, and his story is not just for the storybooks, it's for us to become better, and so we have to learn from it. And what happened to that Christian priest? He was killed for saying that. Just for saying one thing, he was killed. That's the type of people Imam Hussein stood up against. That's the type of people you and I need to stand up against. We need to wake up and swim to the surface. Okay? Thank you. Please recite Surah Fatiha for all our means. And before that, recite a nice, loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
If you don't do that, then you go to hell. So like, if he doesn't need our praise, that's wrong. So why if you don't follow him?
Just like the surah said, okay? Well, another surah that video said, if you're drowning, which is what the surah says, and there's not enough time is running out, yeah? What do you need to do? You need to swim. What did we say? We need to swim in what direction? We need to swim upwards. So how do we swim upwards? We have to face up and we have to push down the water. That means we have to do it in a certain direction. Agreed? If we face downwards and we push up the water, where will we go? Downwards. So what does that mean? We have to have a certain way of doing it. So God in Islam, in religion, has told us the way of going upwards. Now if we don't do it, right, what will happen? We'll drown. Some people might do it in a different way, and they'll still get up slowly. They might get up and then they might go down again, then go up. But what Islam has told us is the best way of doing that. That makes sense? And so if you do that in the best way, you'll get up there to the surface quickest, and you'll survive. So when we talk about hell and Jannah, hell and heaven, God only knows who's going to go to hell and heaven. But what God has given us is given us the tools to say, swim this way, and you'll get there quickest. Then after that, it's in the hands of God. Yeah. So you're right. God doesn't need. We need. We need to know how to swim. That's what God says.
Remember when you said that way, like about that, like drowning and all that. What do you mean? Because you're saying we're drowning and then we have to swim out. What do you mean?
So the person who was saying it, and he was giving an idea of what the surah might mean. So I think what he was trying to say is that, you know, in the surah it's telling us, because we believe in the Quran, right? And we believe what the surah says. The surah says, time is running out, man is at a loss. That means man won't succeed. You know, if you do an exam, what do you have to do before an exam? You have to revise, right? If you don't revise for your exam, if you don't learn, and you go into a test, what will happen? You'll get low mark or you'll fail, right? So what you have to do, you have to revise. So what he's saying is that you're going to have to get somewhere. Another example, if you want to go to London, what do you have to do? You have to fill up the petrol in the car. Then you have to prepare yourself. You have to make yourself, if you want to get there by 6 o'clock, you have to leave at 4 o'clock. Yeah? So you have to prepare yourself. If you don't prepare yourself, you'll be late, and if you'll be late, you might not get the job, or you might miss a meeting. Does that make sense? So what do you have to do? You have to plan, and then you have to do the correct things. If you fill petrol, and you drive that way, and London's that way, will you get to London?
Yeah.
If you drive towards Manchester? No. You won't. You go towards Manchester, you won't go to London. So the point is, it's just a way of thinking and understanding how to go in the right direction. Does that make sense? So if you've got like a test, or you're going to a journey to London, or you're going somewhere, you have to go in the right direction, and you have to make the right preparations and plan. And how did the surah say you have to do that? You have to do good deeds, and tell others about the truth, and be patient. Well done. Yeah?
What does success mean? What you said before?
What does success mean? Well, that's up to you to decide what success means. But if you want a definition of success given by our prophets and our imams, then the success means that you're going to get closest to God. How do you get closest to God? By doing good deeds, by telling others of the truth, and being patient and respectful. Absolutely. Good.
Whose video was that?
That video was by Nu'man Khan, and he's done lots of videos on there. He's done one about Surah Falaq with those animations. So if you're interested, go on YouTube and look. Nu'man Khan. Nu'man Khan, Surah Falaq. Yeah? No, I don't think so. He's a Sunni scholar of the Quran. He's very good, brilliant. Yeah.
You know when you say that if you want to go to London, you get the petrol. It's just like 9 England. At 4 o'clock, you get the petrol, and we take off. It's like that.
Absolutely. You have to plan, and then you have to go at the right. Takeoff is a good one. When you go to the airport, the airport's not good. The airplane's not going to wait for you, is it? You have to go there on time. You have to have your passports ready. You have to do all the right things. And if you're late, time is running out, and you have to do the right things. If you do the wrong things, if you go to the wrong gate, you won't get on the right place. And then you go somewhere else. So these are the things, you have to do the right things. Yes?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's why you have to plan. Do you have a question?
I just have another story.
Go on then.
once there was a boy, and he went into the 5th grade, and he was like messy and dirty and all that, and the teacher didn't like him, and when it was like the beginning of the year, she said hello to everyone in the class except for the boy, and then the boy, she was going through their profiles, and she read about the boy, and in the 1st grade it said, the teacher replied, he's a very good boy. In the 2nd grade they said he has gotten a bit worse because his mom has gotten into cancer, and then in the 4th grade they said his mom died from cancer, and that's why, and she didn't know that, and like she was feeling bad for him, so she went and said sorry to him and that. And when it was like the teacher's birthday, everyone bought him good presents, but his dad didn't care about him because his mom died and that. So he bought like his mom's old perfume and his mom's chain that she used to put around his neck, and he put it in a bag from the shop next to his house. But in all of our other children in the other 5th grade, they bought all lovely presents and they had lovely paper around them. But then she said, oh thank you, don't laugh at him. And when he finished, the teacher started taking care of him and teaching him well. So when he finished that, and he graded, right now he's a doctor and the most famous doctor in the world for stopping cancer.
Thank you very much. So, I think that's a wonderful story also about that word appreciate and respect, because what did the teacher not do at the beginning? He didn't appreciate what the boy was going through. Once the teacher appreciated what he was going through, then he became really successful later on.